Thank you through the chair. Without having the exact details in front of me, it's very similar to the process we went through previously. We're starting again, essentially, with the concept. They approve it, provide their comments. From speaking with them, though, it shouldn't be an issue for them to approve.
Thank you. Page 6. Just like, oh, sorry, Councillor Simon.
I just wondered about the palm trees on Stepplesfield Road.
Very good, Councillor Simon. Megan's got an update to let us know.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you through the chair. I can advise that we have been advised by LEC that they will provide us with a response to our submission August, September.
Nothing happens fast. Page 7. Oh, Councillor Ellison.
Sorry, thanks, Mayor. I was just going to ask, did we have any reply back from DIT on the Mudlow Wirra Road and the Redbanks Road intersection? The letter that was sent by Daryl?
No, we haven't yet.
I can't see anything on there, so.
No, there's been no reply yet, so happy to put that as an action to follow up with a further email.
Thank you. Page 8. A lot of completed things there, which is good to see. Page 9. Some of that's coming up in the agenda. No recommendations from committees. 10, infrastructure and sustainability reports. Infrastructure and environment monthly updates from Jason. Lots of good roads have been done. Thanks after the rain. We had a lot of problems with the wet weather, but they seem to be getting on top of it now, which is great. Any questions there? Councillor Collins?
I guess it's just about this one for Megan, I suppose, but I was reading about Ebenezer Road, how it was the contingency was done and it was 15% cheaper to the new design. I'm just wondering if that could be adopted anywhere else in the future, or it's only a one-off that that could work.
Thanks, Meg.
Through the chair, just for clarification, Councillor Collins, you want to know if the methodology we adopted for Ebenezer could be applied everywhere? Is that the question?
Yeah, maybe not everywhere, but if it could be used, because I did notice Ebenezer did have a lot of rubble at depth from many years of application, and then all they did was my understanding was dig it up, repack it. So it saved a lot of reintroduction of foundation for the road, and it seemed to me quite a smart way of doing it, and it's obviously saved us some money. I'm just wondering whether that could be adapted in the future, because it's quite a substantial saving.
The methodology we use for Ebenezer Road is generally what we apply across the board. So the savings for Ebenezer Road were probably more bespoke to that road itself. So in general, we can apply other elements to our other projects that we aren't already doing.
Councillor Michael, do you have a question?
No, just a comment. I think the inclusion of the grade areas is a good touch in the reports. It shows, you know, when it's been working or when they've been working. So I think that's good.
There were some queries why there's a greater hour of 0.1 or 0.2. Apparently that was training.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bill. Through the month of June, there was a lot of training our staff had to do, work health and safety training. So that took them out of action for a bit.
I just want to compliment the team. They've done roads were down my way last week, and they're the best I've ever seen them. The surface is fabulous. So whoever was doing the grading down there this last time's done a really tremendous job. So we want to keep that up. Okay, just a message to those who may be online. There'll be no projectors working today, but you can follow our agenda on the web page as we run through. There's a recommendation on the bottom of page 16 that the council receives the infrastructure and sustainability reports and the contents therein be noted. Councillor Lynette, Councillor Michael, all in favour? It's carried. Thank you. No strategy or economic development reports. Reports for information. Quarterly update capital renewal program end of year report. It's a very good report, yeah, and pretty exciting to see that the bottom comment on the bottom of page 18. The estimated savings of the overall program are the order of 250 to 500,000, which in a budget of that amount is quite significant, particularly considering the Middle East problems and the fuel and so forth. So congratulations, Megan and the team for that. So well done. Are there any questions? Councillor Simon.
Yes, please. I raised this issue a few times before, but I think I have to do it again. So about the Towards Road in Buller Belt, that we're forecasting to spend $300,000 to upgrade it or fix it or whatever we're going to do to it. But and I've always argued, and I think probably others would agree, is that the reason why that road's deteriorated is because of the development that's happening down there. It's really had not much to do with the actual ratepayers, which amounts to about $40 a ratepayer to pay the $300,000. So the question is, and I've always thought that, like, oh, it's really hard to point out who actually done the damage and all that stuff. But in this report, you clearly, or whoever written it, clearly pointed out where the damage comes from. It does say since the rezoning of the Rosebery Township expansion, development activity and associated construction works, along with a growing population, have significantly increased traffic volumes. And then it SA Water is to blame as well. And then it says this has impacted local roads. These factors contributed to accelerated deterioration of the road surface. So it is obvious that it's these factors that deteriorate that road. But for some reason, it's not factors that deteriorate that have to pay for it. It's that common ratepayer that has to fork the money out to fix the road. I'm still don't understand how that is the case and what we can do about it. And I've asked this a few times. It was always, oh, we can't really pinpoint into who actually does the damaging, and we can't really charge these people. All this, whatever the excuses were. But here, and this is the first time I clearly see it even spelled out in words that blames these people for the deterioration. So why are not these people that we clearly can blame are not paying for it? Like, I just don't get it.
Thanks, Councillor Simon. Do you would like to have a comment about that? I will say that eventually they'll pay, Simon, when they finally do the road, which apparently whispers tell me might be sooner than we were hoping. So anyone, Megan, do you want to comment? Daryl?
You know, what's that in the chart? Take it online.
Sorry, through the chair. The deed response in terms of Towards Road, I think, is well understood because we have covered that previously, and I understand the question about interim use. The simple provision is that the deed doesn't allow for charging an ongoing contribution in and during the development process. It's a road that is obviously receiving some use. It's been subject to development pressure as well, and Megan will touch on the SA Waterworks going through there. So we're mindful of, in any event, doing works on the road that will be affected by SA Water's need to go through and deliver some of its trunk infrastructure. So it is a challenging time, and I understand that. And that has been something which we've been looking at over time with the water movements through those areas as well during the control of the discharge from those sites. But as Mayor Bills rightly pointed out, there is provision in the deed to look at the end result. We are looking at options to try and bring that forward, whether it be through other means in addition to the deed. And by that, I'll look at things like grants and things like that might become available as well, which are provided for as an avenue in the ways that the deeds are structured. I know it's a game of patience, I understand that, but it is part of the development process, unfortunately.
Thanks, Craig. Megan? Yeah.
And further to Twarts Road in particular, the traffic or the impact to the road itself hasn't necessarily been from the development traffic. It's probably been more from SA Water, because a lot of the road has actually been closed due to their construction works, and they are contributing to our costs. We sent them an invoice at the end of last financial year for half the cost we'd spent to date.
Oh.
We negotiated that with them.
Well, that's good news. Yeah, Darryl.
Yeah, through the chair, and Craig, you might be able to add value to this as well. We have explored different types of options, and some of the options is to do an emergency order potentially to stop the egress of some water, but that's temporary in nature and it might resolve the problem temporarily, but it's got to have a fair bit of criteria to meet what would be considered an emergency as well. So whilst we are trying to exercise that, that's only a point in time and interaction on their own property, not necessarily the road, because the road's contributed by many different developers, traffic, road, weather and the like. So it is really hard to pinpoint, but we do continually try if we can find a particular event to be able to deal with that event at that point in time.
Thank you. Any more questions on that? Move to Councillor Collins.
I've just got a question about, so with the unsealed road renewal program for this current year, how are we delivering that? Because last time we had a contractor doing the work. I'm just wondering how we're proceeding this year.
You talking about renewal or maintenance?
I'm talking about the renewal of the unsealed road program. So last year we had a contractor who's now left. I'm just wondering how we're fulfilling or how we're doing it, how he's gone.
Thanks, Councillor. Megan?
Thank you, through the chair. Councillor Collins, correct. Last year we started off with staff doing the resheeting work using the grader. We then had difficulty with grader operators. We had engaged a contractor. Contractor is no longer able to fulfil his work with us. So we have actually hired a grader, and we're doing that in the meantime until we can find another suitable grader operator as a contractor.
So it's been done in-house, yeah, at this stage.
Okay.
Councillor Simon, sorry.
If I have one more other question, I've noticed that there's a new car park been done in Freeling for the institute, like this whole work. And I just can't find it, or where in this end of year report where that would be the allocation for that, or was it the fault? I would have thought it was this financial year when this happened.
Yeah, it was the year before, was it? Yeah.
No, it was finished the year before.
You've been on holidays too long, Councillor.
Must have been, yeah. Okay.
Okay, any further questions? The Flinders to Fleurieu car rally event, which is coming up in September. They're using a road incident kits for this rally, part of this rally. Any questions on that? Councillor Collins.
It says a confidential route, but after 24-hour event, we're just going to have to make sure that we can try and keep the spectators off some of these roads. It's a disgrace what the damage that was done. And the race is good. I've got no, they run it really well, but some of the spectators, we have to just block roads off or something, because they just get in there the 4-wheel drives and just have a wow of a time. But and this might be similar, so we're going to have to make sure. I'm
not sure this is such a like of the motorcycle rally, because they're classic vehicles, classic cars that not necessarily four-wheel drive cars that are doing the rally. So
Yeah, but it wasn't the bikes that do the damage, Bill. It's the people that come to watch and then they just go through they
yeah,
put it in full drive and go and run amok.
Chair, I don't think we asked the question about spectators, councillor Collin. I don't believe they're expecting as many as like may have been through the 24-hour trial, because we're asking about the same thing and getting access to these sites and things like that as well, and what they're doing for parking, safety, that sort of thing. So whilst this is an inaugural event, I don't believe they're expecting that many. It's been mostly officials and things like that.
the Barossa Character Area Project Group update has been ongoing. We've had a Laura Lee's done a work for the Barossa and ourselves. Kyna's got a great report there. Any questions for Kyna? There'll be a workshop of elected members combining with the Barossa elected members to look at the movement into the code. Is that right, Craig? Is that the right sort of terminology?
Sorry, through the chair. Through the chair, yeah, that'll be to look at the report that Professor Lee and her consortium have produced to take the elected members through that, and then this lead into how that will inform the code amendment in the future.
So this is the code amendment that affects the Barossa Valley, so there are restrictions on what they planning and development can be happening in that area. So they're trying to broaden it, but still retain the Barossa Valley features. Thanks, Kyna, for the report. Hewitt Centre quarterly update. Pepper, do I dare ask you to take the stage?
Through the chair, I'll keep it brief because I think the report covers most of it. It's more if anyone has any questions. But I think we're seeing in this sort of first 6 months of the 18-month trial that the community are really coming on board and getting lots of positive feedback and also being able to observe different people making different connections. We've got regulars coming in, some bringing their grandkids or their children and their grandchildren and those sorts of things. And with the cafe opening as well on the 10th of July, that's been really well supported to date as well. So I think on their sort of first 3 to 4 opening days that they did have, we were getting anywhere between sort of 50 to 60 people in the centre on each of those mornings. So that's been good, and it'll be interesting to see how it comes from there. But we've certainly noticed the increase in attendance and their visitors to the library, visitation also to the centre for events also continues to grow with bookings there. So that's I think like it mentions in there, gone from 34 bookings in February to 60 in June or in July. And we're certainly seeing that external hirer bookings going quite well too. So having that new fob system for the door entry and those sorts of things has been well received by the community. So it seems to be tracking quite well and just doing what we can to now keep the space activated in there, but lots of positive signs. So I'm sure if anyone has any particular questions, happy to answer them there. And from a financial perspective, we'll get some of those figures in as well. But I know for the month of August, we're expecting about $12,000 worth of bookings in there, and a lot of those being external hires after hours. And when we do have those external hires in, they're unstaffed, so they're using the auditorium, either full auditorium or some of the rooms. And there's a few regular hirers in there now. So I think each weekday after 5 o'clock, there is a regular class happening in that space. So it's not just during that 9 till 5, but outside of those hours as well, which is fantastic too.
Thanks, Pepper, and congratulations to you and the team down there too. So it's great to see the centre really taking off. Let's hope it keeps doing. Yes, that's right, Collins. It is. Roseworthy Township expansion, Roseworthy Township explosion, isn't it more the point, Lisa? It's all pretty straightforward. There are lots of things happening there. Oh, Councillor Michael.
Yeah, something that stood out to me is that everything seems to be expanding other than St. Eve's. Just wondering, including the unfinished water pond.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah.
Through the chair, 3 weeks ago, I received 6 development applications across the Roseworthy Town expansion for another 911 allotments. 300 of those are for St. Eve's. So the Platinum Group have lodged stage 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. There is just some assessment stuff happening in the background and some negotiations with their consultant. So we hope they'll get off the ground in the very, very near future. And yes, that main water feature is getting very close to being finalised.
Just on that, does that assist with this water issue that we've got flowing down the back through to Torts Road or not?
No, not really. That's actually designated. That's actually separate to the main stormwater system that runs through the land. So no, it doesn't necessarily contribute to retaining. However, I can advise that they are about to start construction for stage 6 and 7 of that particular estate. From memory, that was 60 or 90 allotments. So I've got 4 clearances on the go at the moment in there. So I apologise, I've maybe got the wrong numbers. But through that stage 6 and 7, they are required to do the fully realised wetland and the rest of the works. So that will be done in tandem with the centre development, which is about to break ground any day. If I may, I can also advise that Trinity College Secondary School has also received its approval. So in the next 6 months in St. Eve's alone, there'll be a hive activity happening all at once. So that'll be entirely around the reserve at the moment, the oval, as well as the existing, where the town centre is. So it'll all be happening around that area, and we'll see a closure of a part of the boulevard while that works happens.
Any further questions? Corporate Communications Monthly Update. This is a new section that Gemma has been appointed as the Corporate Communications Officer. She's doing a great job with Facebook and various other contacts. It's a very good report she's put through there about what she's achieving with getting the message out to the council, to the community. Any questions there? Okay, there's a recommendation on the bottom of page 39 that all those reports be received and their contents therein noted by council. Would someone like to move that way? Councillor Dean, or if everyone's got their hand up. Councillor Dean and Councillor Farbo haven't had their name in the book yet. You're next, Peter. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Report 13, reports for decision, exclusion of land from classification community land reserve 205 and 206. This is the water facilities on the Villawood estate. It's pretty much a standard. It was an error of the developer. He wanted to keep the land himself, you see, so he didn't transfer it to us. So it's being done now. Thanks, Councillor Michael. Peter, you didn't put your hand up, so Martin's got it this time. All in favour? Carried, thank you. Road process order, portion of the public road Willow Drive, Kapunda. It's just putting an adjoining piece of land onto another title. Again, it's pretty much straightforward. So I'd like to move the recommendation, Peter. Peter, seconded Simon. All in favour? It's carried. Thank you. Yeah, well, the last one was just an application. This is now happening. And he's going to sell the block now anyway, so it's all right. Ross Creek Bridge, length limit community consultation. It's a report from Jason. Went out to community consultation, had, as it says, has 1 negative and one for and 1 against. Are there any queries and questions? Councillor Fabio?
Yeah, if I may, through the chair, I'll speak on this one since it was my little baby. Yeah, look, I think the overall community lack of community engagement, either for or against, is a bit disappointing. Considering leading up to it, there was a lot of people that were quite vocal about it. I guess the statistics have spoken, and so at this stage, I guess there's nothing more that can be done. I'm still in support of Ross Creek Bridge being bitumised or sealed, spray sealed at some stage, and that's in the process, sitting at 31. So we've got a little while to go there yet. If there's any way that just that section of Ross Creek Bridge can be accelerated or brought forward without necessarily the lead-in roads from Kidman Road and out to Trevina and Hawkers Creek, that would certainly, I think, reduce the overall risk of bridge strikes. And I think, given that was my overall intent initially, was to try and stabilise vehicles, especially unladen vehicles going over the bridge, particularly when it's heavily corrugated. And in light of the fact that Jason Winters in previous reports has mentioned the extreme difficulties in grading the actual bridge itself and getting a good finish on that. I think if at least that portion could be brought forward at some stage, that would be I think a win all round.
Thanks, Councillor Fabio. Would you like some more information about shifting the pole and costing of that sort of nature? If anything could be done in that nature,
that would be great. If that's okay to bring that up now.
Yeah, you can make that suggestion. Megan, do you want to comment on that?
I guess just costing, if
just costing
end to end
options,
end to end for that bridge.
Megan.
Thank you through the chair. If Councillor Fabio would like to add that to the recommendation, I'm happy to accept that, and we can provide that information. Just to clarify, the ranking in the register, that's a technical ranking. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the priority ranking of this council. This council may deem that road or that section, those works might be of a higher priority, and that would be subject to funding, of course. So that road upgrade register, I don't know if I'll let the members remember when we developed the framework earlier, the intention is that we will present twice a year where the roads currently sit and any new roads that have been added. You'll see an updated list. So that will always be at the front of mind and also ready for when you're looking at your budget deliberations for the next budget cycle.
Councillor Martin.
Yeah, just the question I had, because I've come into this late, it's obviously been going for a while, is if we're getting strikes every year because it's too difficult to turn with a Stobie pole. I think you mentioned Stobie. Why don't we move that?
But because of the cost, so it's worth looking at what the cost of it is. There's also the problem with the farming equipment, big long air seeders going through. They can't quite turn, so making that turn easier may be
because they're going to continue hitting it.
They will, yeah,
and
exactly.
I saw that the average cost, and then I saw that the last one was 60,000, and that's because costs increase, and it would be easy to have
up to 6 years.
There'll be big ones. They'll come.
So, Councillor Fabio, you've got an opportunity there to add an addition to that recommendation.
Yes, if I may, through the chair, then. I'm not sure of the exact wording on this, but I would, I guess, would it be a question without notice?
No, you can add it to this recommendation.
Yeah, okay. That would be to investigate the cost of sealing Bridge.
Yeah, other alternatives.
Other alternatives, including the relocation of the Stobie pole, as an alternative as well, to try and straighten out that section where you go from Hawkers Creek onto Helliston, so you're not doing a little dog leg by the bridge there. Make it more of a
You
clean
happy with that,
suggestion.
Megan?
If I may clarify.
Well,
So
let's just leave it at other options
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's better.
without
Yeah.
getting too specific. Yeah.
a previous report has come to council with the options. So you would like to request costs that include the removal of the Stobie pole and realignment of the road.
Yep.
Into that
Yes,
intersection.
please. Yep.
Councillor Collins?
We've all, so the original resolution actually says upgrade the road surface to a seal and the bridge and intersection approaches, so hasn't it been done? Like,
The problem is the Stobie pole is one of the problems, just the turning capacity, so that hasn't been costed.
there's no air seaters going across that bridge. It's very narrow, like.
Well, someone's been saying it's farming equipment,
Farm equipment doesn't go across that bridge.
doesn't it?
No,
Or
the only thing that goes across that bridge is
is
if you've got cruisies with his longer truck, so he lives up the road there, he goes through there, he'd be, I don't know, but he'd be the one who would have objected. Rightly so, I think Fabio made a good point that if you sealed that road and got rid of the corrugation, because that's what people get spat, because the trailers do that when they
Just
go
jump
through
in,
and they
yeah.
hit the bridge. If you got rid of the corrugations, half the problems, or 90% of the problems would be gone.
well, Megan will look at that too. wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay, right, all right. Yeah, and perhaps resealing. I was in there. Well, so the recommendation addition that we've put forward is 6. Request the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to provide a report to council detailing the costs associated with other options, such as the removal of the Stobie pole and the realignment of the road. Realignment of the road. So are you happy with that, Councillor Fabio?
Through the chair, that would certainly ease the turning issue, 100%. And then it's just the issue of the deteriorating surface, which becomes incredibly difficult to grade on a regular basis.
Thanks, Fabio. Is there a second to that motion? Councillor Peter. All in favour of that recommendation? That's carried. Thank you. So 13.4 is the petition response to curbside waste collection on St Kitts Road and Ebenezer Road. Yeah. Okay. There's an updated motion that has been suggested that's coming round. Thanks, Corey. I'll just ask Megan to make some comments as to why it's changing.
Thank you through the mayor. The changes are minor but have probably a bigger impact. The provision of providing a waste service to the individual properties is beyond the capacity of the current contractor. While this is actually an operational matter dealt with through the policy and procedure that council have adopted, providing that as the decision may open up for other previously requested services where they cannot be provided because it's too far out, the road conditions don't suit. So what this recommendation, the amendments provide for is that endorsing the provision of a service to those people, subject to contractor capacity, vehicles, and obviously alignment with the policy. Otherwise, we may have had to make some changes. And just acknowledging that an increase may also require a road upgrade. So that, of course, is an extra cost to council too that needs to also be factored into any changes. Contact has been made with the organiser of the petition, and that she's been updated with the outcomes of meetings we've had with Solo and the investigations that we've had. So the process from here is subject to this going through council. We will write to all the people who signed the petition, offer to them the service, which would be the third option that the contractor is able to provide, which is a pickup area from Truro Road, and such as a bin bank, and ask if they would like to partake in that. And subject to those responses, then we'll have that agreement drawn up with the contractor and the bins delivered and the service enacted.
Thanks, Megan. Councillor Collins?
Through you, Bill. Is that all 8 to go to one spot to Truro Road?
Through the chair, there's actually 2 points on Truro Road. So the people from Schneider, that is a flexible location that's further down or further towards Kapunda on Truro Road, whereas the ones from Doki and St Kitts Road West would come down to the end of St Kitts Road West.
Thanks, Megan.
Wouldn't the truck go down Snyder Road?
It doesn't currently know. That's outside of its area.
But it goes down Ebenezer. So it goes down Research up in Ebenezer. So then it actually turns around. So it could actually go up Snyder Road, turn right up through St Kitts West Road, do a U-E, come back down and then go up Research and then back down Ebenezer.
The operational details of how the truck will travel to minimise, I guess, its route time will be negotiated with the contractor to make sure we can deliver the best service we can to those petitioners.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the map of where they actually go because it's confusing me how we're doing this. It doesn't seem one bank I can see on the St Kitts West Road. I think that would be quite a good solution, but I think the others, I just knowing where the truck goes, it wouldn't be that hard to make them go a little bit further to me.
Well, that made it like Daryl.
Through the chair, look, I think the first point in call is the intention as part 3 being the worst case scenario where we're able to provide that service. Then when staff meet with them, they'll explore in greater detail exactly their route, why they're saying no, and be very inquisitive in that. So I think we'll do that.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is the people that live there know where the trucks go. And if you do something that's it doesn't quite make sense or not as quite common sense as what they're, what they might be suggesting, it's going to not look good on us.
Through the chair, Megan and I are very happy to have a look at the engagement with the contractor and make sure that it's not just a no before a decent process. So I think it's about the process. Also, some improvements is when there's, say, 8 people on a potential run that we could also service. We could also survey broader to make it more viable and stuff like that. So I'm pretty keen to have a look at the process of how we actually deal with this. It is a bit of a restrictive contract, but I think what council should lend its attention to today is there's an attempt to try and bring about an essential service for these people. Worst case, it will be done with banks, but I do expect, and I'm sure with Megan and the team, that when they meet with the contractor, they will ask those type of inquiring questions around route and serviceability and how we can improve that moving forward, so that if we can potentially survey more and bring more people into a route, what does that look like? So you're not just making a micro decision, but macro decisions over time as well.
Thanks, Daryl. Okay, you've been handed a recommendation, which will replace the recommendation in the agenda. Is someone prepared to move that recommendation? Councillor Collins got his hand up first. Councillor Michael, all in favour? It's carried. Thank you. Thanks for that work to it. So we want to keep people happy and provide them with essential services, don't we? Thanks for your work with them too, Councillor Collin. 13.5, rescission of land management agreement, Kidman Estate, Kapunda. It's pretty much a straightforward thing, isn't it, Craig?
Through the chair, yes, Mr. Mayor, this is just correcting an error we've identified where the motion to one viewing and one reading covered off on the matter, but we thought we'd cover the bases and make sure that we picked up the missing items from attachment 1 back in October.
Thanks, Craig. Given that, there's a recommendation there. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Martin and Councillor Fabio. All in favour? It's carried. Thank you. .6, the Building Fire Safety Committee membership appointments. I didn't even know we had one, so. That's right. And I think we should thank Peter Harmer for his long service on the committee. I don't know how many years, quite a long time there. Very long time. The rest have been nominations from staff and elsewhere. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Any questions on that? Darrell's? I think that'll be a good idea. Would someone like to move that way? Councillor Simon, have you got that, Corey? You can put that in. And seconder was Councillor Annette. With that, you're right, Corey, with that? With that addition of a thank you note to Peter Harmer. All those in favour? It's carried, thank you. .7 draft statewide flood hazard code amendment submission. Kynan, another good report. Any questions for Kynan? Councillor Collin.
I'd just like to comment on your letter that you replied, Bill. It was a very thorough letter. Can you write one signed by the mayor about this? Right.
I'm sure if I did, it would have been a good letter, Colin. Yeah, I must have been good. No questions, Colin. Thank you very much. There's a recommendation on page 69. Someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Peter. And seconded, Councillor Simon. All in favour? It's carried. Thank you. .8 changes to the financial delegations banking payment authorisations. With the resignation of Naomi, we have to take her name off the list. It's really just, and we need to have a council recommendation to do so. So it's pretty straightforward. Someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Annette, seconded. Councillor Martin, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. Yeah. Well. As my father-in-law always said, if someone resigns, you could get someone better. 13.9. Nothing that gets Naomi, don't you? 13.9. Event sponsorship program, Community Pride Events 26-27. This guy's not here. Kyra, got any comments to make here?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, pretty straightforward. So this is the Community Pride event, which is a bit of a different process to the usual grants application process where council staff reach out to the event organisers of the typical Christmas street functions, Remembrance Day and Anzac Day services And if council resolves this way, we'll offer, set amounts and to fund the road closure exercises, which are reasonably costly. So this year there is no budget for the usual grant applications for events. And whilst we have a period off this year for that, we're undertaking a review of the grants program as a whole, just to see if we can consolidate all our grant programs under one budget. That way, if there's sometimes there's over subscription of different streams and under subscriptions in others, and I think an overarching budget could be a way of managing that better, so that some streams don't miss out and others are well funded. So yeah, council can expect a report in the next few months on some options to sort of change the way grants are delivered in the future. But this recommendation is reasonably straightforward for the community pride events. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Colin. Thanks, Councillor Collin. Simon, question?
Just a question. First of all, I think it's a great idea to just tell these people if we want to give you some money, that simplifies things. And as you said as well, like if you can in the future simplify the whole process, that's good. Just one question. So they're still required to fill out all the paperwork for it, or is it going to be streamlined in this sense as well? So like before, like the Freely Christmas tree party had to fill out all the stuff and the insurances and everything else to get the money. Is this going to make it easier on them, or is it still the paperwork's going to stay the same?
Through you, Mayor. So I believe they'll still have to go through the permitting requirement, as any sort of event organiser would. So that would involve those types of processes. But in terms of the grant process, they wouldn't have to competitively apply for a grant and submit paperwork associated with the finances and grants. So.
Okay, it's got a move. We've got a seconder for the motion. Councillor Lynette. All in favour? Councillor Dean, you're next. All in favour? Councillor Michael? Carried, thank you. 13.10, review of investment attraction policy and precincts policy. This is quite a high level document. Karen, would you like to make some comments?
Thank you, Mayor. So essentially we reviewed those two policies, investment attraction policy and the precincts policy, and there was a bit of overlap in terms of those policies, and there was also quite a bit of procedural content in those existing policies. So we've consolidated the two policies into one, given that overlap, and also taken out the procedural content and put them into the procedures. So no substantial change to intent of those policies, other than making them a bit more flexible for council to adapt with how much resources it wants to throw at investment attraction and those types of services, rather than being a bit more specific, which the previous policies were. But essentially the intent's the same. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Carl. There's no questions. There's a recommendation on page 82. So I'd like to move that recommendation. Councillor Dean. Seconded. Councillor Simon, all in favour? It's carried, thank you. 13.11. Policy review, public art policy. Karen, would you like to make a comment?
Through you, Mayor. Similarly to the last matter, the existing public art policy had many procedural elements to it, so we've taken those out and placed them in the new procedure, and the policy is quite high level. So it's really just complying with our updated policy and procedures framework. No change to intent or processes in general.
Thanks, Karen. Any questions? It's a recommendation on page 86. So I'd like to move that recommendation. Councillor Lynette, seconded. Councillor Dean, all in favour? It's carried, thank you. 13.12 is the CEO's July 26 report. Darryl?
Yeah, thank you. through the chair, this report lists essentially my meetings and a little bit of commentary. There's 3 items there, and noting that there is a separate and later report dealing with SAROC and the LGA president nominations. They are out there, and I guess what council needs to put its attention to is, do you want to put a representative, or do you want to apply for a representative on SAROC? Because that's the only way you can become LGA president if you wanted to pursue that. LGA president, you must be a member of SAROC for a year beforehand, so it means we can't actually internally nominate someone from this council. The other part, and in that later report, it does comment as well that this to me has a little bit of disaster written all over it again with, if you remember about 4 years ago, I think it was 5 years ago, there was an election of a president from Narracourt Lucendale Council. They then went out for election. They didn't get re-elected, and we had to elect a president from within the board, not councils. And this approach has that written all over it again. So there is a little bit in the further report, which we can speak to later, to actually just put in a little bit of feedback into that process. So for consideration there, the local government election timetable is out, and that's as presented. We've also received feedback from the Honourable Kyron Maher, Deputy Premier, to our letter of advocacy as it relates to libraries funding, and it essentially echoes the importance, but is non-committal. But I think regardless of that, still us doing our bit and putting our voice to an overall advocacy campaign is still good leadership. That's the report.
Thanks, Daryl. Any questions to Daryl? Okay. You're still doing your one-on-one interviews with staff, Daryl? How's that going? You?
We're probably about 70%. I did 10 yesterday in a day, which was terrific. So probably just mainly the outdoor guys, but I think it's been well received, both in terms of me understanding people and being a face that is available and to the staff, and also understanding all the diverse backgrounds and where people come from and what skills they've got, as well as getting a little bit of feedback from time to time. So I think it's been a worthwhile process. It's taking a while because they're probably about half an hour a meeting, whereas I probably envisaged 10 minutes, but I think it's actually worth the time.
I think it's really, really great you're doing that. There's a recommendation on page 90 that the report titled CEO July 26 updates be received. Councillor Peter moves. Councillor Allison. Thanks, Councillor Allison. All in favour? It's carried. Thank you. 13.3 is well, I've gone past it. CEO performance review and retention framework. Okay, Daryl.
Yeah, through the chair. Thank you. This is a report, I guess, giving options following our information session around how we could do the activity of CEO annual performance and retention. Following that, from that session, there was 2 options there. If you were to look at doing a full council, which I believe was the guidance provided, that would be option 1, 2, and 3. The benefit of doing it in that way is it's with the council as a whole. It will be different approach for both, because if it's a council, then it will be a combination of formal meetings and informal gatherings, which gives a little bit more flexibility. There'll probably be a policy that needs to override that rather than a terms of reference. Whereas if you wanted to go in terms of a committee, then there needs to be a formal terms of reference. Also, at that meeting, we had a contract with LG Talent, and that was contingent on finding a suitable professional to complete that task, and Mark McShane has confirmed his availability as well. So if it was in line with the guidance, it would be 1, 2, and 3. If you wanted to revisit the committee, it'd be, well, I mean, 2, the first part of 2 would be that, or where you have to nominate people to a committee.
Councillor Michael.
I'm happy to move 1, 2, and 3.
Councillor Ellison, second. Do you want to speak on that, Councillor Ellison? Anyone else like to speak or? Yes.
Just for
Councillor
clarity, because I kind of erred in my statement there, it's 1, 2, removing that or.
Yeah.
Deleting that or, yeah.
So we happy with that, Corey? You know what we're doing? Okay, so we're going for sections 1, 2 and 3, removing the or. All in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Thirteen point 13.14. South Australian Regional Organisation SAROC election nomination of council representatives. There's a report there about this. We can nominate somebody, or we don't have to nominate somebody. Given that there are 2 representatives that come from our area, our group, it's whether there's anyone that's experienced or wants to do that job at this stage, I think it's probably, I don't think it'd be better if I didn't do it if I was nominated, because I think there should be someone who's had more experience as being mayor. That would be my opinion. So, any comments? You may want to nominate someone else rather than me. Of course, you can do that. You don't have to be a mayor. No. You've got to be a mayor to be nominated to the LGA. Any comments there? So I think we just receive it and note it. That would be my thought. We would have to do, Corey, to move the.
Just pointing out that point 4 of the recommendation is saying that choosing not to nominate, so actually stipulates that we're choosing not to nominate. And then the papers will be sent saying that we've chosen not to nominate, so we still need to notify.
Okay, so we go 1, 2, 3 and 4? Sure. Yeah? Corey?
Yep, sorry.
Councillor Collins.
So what happens if we get rolled in April? It's the same as what you're talking about.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah. So there's a chance that if the nominee for chairman gets rolled, they're out. So then you've got to fussful. Do we want to put that other point in here?
Yeah, there was one in there. One of the recommendations is that we write to them. So I would say that we do that because it's happened once, it can happen again. And with all the negotiating around the timing, it would have been preferred to actually maybe put something to councils to extend the current or different options. But more so that if we do vote for a president and they are rolled, then that it comes back to the individual councils again, as opposed to just being done by the board, which happened last time. So I think that's the type of feedback I'd put in a nicely worded letter, but I think we've experienced this once before and we should learn from it as an industry.
So that's really part 6 in this recommendation.
Yeah, so part 6 to be included.
You want to? Sorry? We can't hear you, Colin.
A number of external engagements, yes.
All right. Do we think that section 6 is strong enough? Do we want to make it stronger than that?
I think it just gives me the ability to author a letter, and I'll run it past you. But I think it's just politely pointing out that this has happened before, and we should be learning from that. And if it does happen, how it will be different to ensure a democratic process.
Okay, so the recommendation will be parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, removing the or and 5. Is that correct, Corey?
There is the part about still notifying a blank nomination form, also notifying that we're not putting in a submission. And then it goes into point 5, which will become point 5, saying that the CEO will write to the LGA about the discrepancy. So yeah. Do you want to look at it? Would you like to view it?
I should view it, yeah. Right. Oh, okay. Okay, that 5 needs to be there, doesn't it? Just to, yeah, it doesn't matter. Does it?
Don't meet the deadline.
You can take it out if you want.
Oh,
I think that's. Even we did not, I'm able to complete the form. I'm comfortable with that.
Take 5 out
take 5 out.
and then 5 at 6 becomes 5.
Okay, all right. So it's pretty much as our recommendations we've got in front of us, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 6. Someone like to move that way? Councillor Dean, seconded. Councillor Ellison, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Gawler River Flood Mitigation Authority budget dispute. Darryl.
Right, through the chair, thank you. This has been a interesting experience, but I think it's one that we needed to do in terms of trying to get people on the same page relating to the future of that particular organisation. They did take it quite seriously and put in a fair bit of work, and they did present a report to the committee, which was, as I understand it, unanimously applied, that they are willing and they will review the terms of reference or the charter, which is good. They will account for the way that they forecast expenditure in the long-term financial plan as well. And that process will be undertaken by a CEO. So they have committed to a charter review, which is the first time that they've actually gone from a dispute into something actionable. But there is the request from them that we do withdraw our concern or our conflict as part of that. So with that in mind, I think we now have a process and an outcome, and I think it's something that we should look to do, but be prepared to just to do another dispute resolution process if it's not resolved in the best interest of this council and probably more broadly the remaining members.
Thanks, Darryl. Councillor Collins.
How much input do you think the committee will have on any of it?
So my understanding is they've charged the CEOs of the governing councils to get together and actually do that review. Then, of course, it would need to go through the board and then through to constituent councils.
So you will have some input as a CEO of the Light Regional Council as a representative on that board. With
Yeah, and
on that review committee, yes.
Yep.
And all CEOs have an input onto that board. So yeah, it would have pretty serious effect if they can change the charter. Yeah.
And just further to that, I think having gone through this process and talking to a few of the CEOs in terms of what the overall future of that organisation is, it's probably going to be a bit broader of a review than what we anticipated just on operational costs. It's actually around its core purpose and what the future strategy should be as well. So I think we're in a good process. Yeah, so whether it should be continue as a subsidiary of councils or whether it should be reverted to the state government at some point in time as well.
So that's part of the discussion, or that, yeah.
Councillor Collins, there was some mention you might like to put a date on section 4.
No, I did think of that, or with Darryl's help, but we've chosen not to put a date because then it, Corey thinks, or speaking to Corey about it, then we'll be in another dispute if that fails. So we'll give them time, and then we'll choose to go into dispute later if it doesn't go to the way we like it.
All right. Okay.
So we'll just hold our punches at the moment and see what happens.
Right.
Are you happy? Is that right? So that's a recommendation on the back of the other one.
Okay, so that's the recommendation on page 100. Oh no, you've done another.
Very organised.
Is that this one?
Yep.
Oh, so we've all got these. We've all got a copy of this. All right. Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, they're not, I don't think, do
That's right, you can see it, so you can see that.
I? Right. Okay, so we've been presented with a recommendation in front of you. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Colin, Colin and well, Michael already got in. Colin and Michael, all in favour? Thank you. Right. And that's been a work in process, but I think it's got to have a good result if we can push the Gawler forward into the government area where it should be managed. It'd be a lot more sensible. 13.16 draft community engagement framework, community engagement policy for community consultation. This is what we had a workshop on last week, 2 weeks ago. Corey, would you like to make some comments?
Thank you through the chair. So this report is now asking, as a follow-on from the information session we had on the 14th, for basically council's endorsement of the draft framework and policy, and then the community consultation to commence on the community engagement framework. So what you're seeing at the moment are Word draft documents, and then we're going out to the community asking through different formats, including above and beyond what we would normally do, things like community sessions, engagement sessions at the 4 different points throughout the region, and reaching out to community groups, and taking our own medicine and putting into action the framework. So it's asking permission to do that and starting that consultation process.
Thanks, Corey. Looks a good process. Any questions, Corey? There's a recommendation on page 102. Someone like to move that way? Councillor Martin, seconded. Councillor Michael. No further speakers. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Corey. 13.717 delegation updates. It's just general bookwork, Corey.
Thank you again through the chair. This is a little bit of additional housekeeping to our instruments of delegation. I think, as I mentioned to Mayor Bill, ironically adding the community consultation and engagement charter powers to our delegations so that we can actually go and do community engagement. So there's a small instrument of delegation there for a small amount that just need to be added to our delegations list.
Thanks, Corey. There's a recommendation. Councillor Fabio, seconded. Councillor Simon, all in favour? It's carried. Thank you. Gets us to 14 questions on notice. There are no questions on notice. 15 questions without notice. Are there any questions without notice? No. Motions on notice, they're nil. Are there any motions without notice? Oh, okay. We'll move to confidential items. 18.1 Trans-Tasman Energy Group. There's a recommendation here that we move into confidence. Someone like to move that recommendation? Do you have to wait? We're right. Move this part. Councillor Allison, seconded. Councillor Annette, all in favour? Thank you.